in terms of, Emily, you have been such a collaborative person throughout your career, and obviously Karen, you are as well. But Emily, if you could just talk about some ways that families can collaborate with all of their advisors when they're talking about family history and dynamics and governance and all these things that are, sometimes, heavy topics. But how do we bring that together? And, when we're talking with our advisors, why is that important? How do we do it?
Oh my gosh, a couple of things come to mind right off the top of my head, which is, and I think I'll just tie it in with the history component we're talking about here, which is contextualizing. So when an advisor is in their particular lane and they're looking at it strictly from like a tax standpoint or a protective standpoint, or it's such a wonderful thing to bring forward, looking at it from the perspective taking of, who is this going to impact short-term and long-term? And if we take that route, what would likely happen? If we don't take that route, what would likely happen? And really opening up that contextualizing. And then I love bringing in the history piece and asking, key members of the family, when decisions have been made in the past, how have they gone? Was contextualizing happening, or was it more like, we've decided to do this, we're telling you, we're imposing it on you, take care of it, and it's, how did that work out, and are there some resentments from the past that we need to take care of before we move forward into the future? So I really do like doing the contextualizing. And one of the things that I really love about our work with families and all of the advisors is when we're working with a family business, if they want to do, let's say, a historical timeline of the family business, we want to have it be really interactive. And the thing I love about Karen is she will bring in what was happening in that time in history when this thing happened for the business. And it also helps to bridge when they're looking at it's like they're not maybe owning the business in the same way anymore. Maybe they've had a liquidity event completely, or they've changed the reins. It's a great time to look at, all right, this is a huge moment in history for us. What's the next part of our timeline going to look like? And especially if they're having that philanthropic conversation. And I love that you spoke with Deborah and Bruce, Michael. It's such a great resource to offer in terms of how you can talk about philanthropy. And that's a big part of our work is, oh, wow, what do we want to bring forward that we see was really beneficial for us in terms of how we work together and work with our advisors? And then what do we want to make sure our advisors are aware of as we're going to look at how we want to give back and philanthropically, and also, the tax mitigation is great, but what does this mean for us in terms of, oh my gosh, we now have to be responsible for a private foundation, but what if we want to be anonymous? And how do we, and anonymity is really important value. Look at what we did in the past because of that. Or, boy, in the past we had the business, so we really needed it to be with the business name and any giving that we did to be tied to us because it was extremely strategic. Now, without the business, how do we want to move with it? So what's our family's identity with it? So it's bringing forward those questions and really empowering advisors to be willing to ask the questions and really think about it like short-term, long-term, and all the different people involved.